general knowledge in Nigeria that there are three arms of government, speaking of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And by design, each arm of government is designed to constitutionally, or let me say, constitutionally empower to independently carry out certain functions, jurisdictions, and oversight, all in the interest of national development. And the idea is just to create check and balances in the system to ensure accountability. But in a situation, for instance, the judiciary, to what extent is the judiciary, to what extent is it independent to carry out its oversight function, and what are the capacities of the judiciary that they can act in that capacity without being experiencing interference from the other arms of government. Even the legislature, to what extent are they exercising their legislative duties that is meant to be independent and in some cases interdependent? And even the executives, going by the constitution, is it not for us to kind of interrogate the powers arrogated to the arms of government to the point that it is capable of infringing, overriding the oversight function of other arms of government? So the idea this morning is for us to reflect that in a democracy like that of Nigeria, are we truly practicing the real concept of separation of powers? And if it is not there, maybe it's high time we start looking at how to devolve power, which has been on the front burner of constitution amendment, has been the agitation of a whole lot of Nigerians, that the Nigerian constitution must be amended and the devolution of power must be on the front burner. All right, it's for you to reflect, like I said. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and I welcome you to AM Today, your flagship morning show on this channel, Osrc television. My name is Alex Adijui, and I'm not alone this morning. The queen of AM Today, she's right with me this morning. Good morning, Adibu Kolauba.
Good morning to you, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine.
And how was your weekend?
Great. It was great.
I had
had a
that,
beautiful weekend.
I can say, I heard that Arsenal won the match over the weekend. You should be elated, unlike the last time.
That's not the reason why I'm happy. That's not the reason why.
But it should be part of it.
Arsenal is no longer one of those things that drive my happiness. There are other things that I focus on now.
Okay.
Given the fact that I'm already losing hope.
Okay.
But not completely.
But they won. At least you should be happy.
Yeah.
You are still part of Arsenal, except you want to resign.
But the fact still remains that it's as if the destiny of Arsenal is no longer in his hand. It belongs to someone else now.
Okay.
But we can only wait and see how it will all unfold at the end of the season.
Maybe. Good morning, dear viewers. It's another beautiful Monday morning from Osrc television here in Akure. My name is Adebukola Oba, and of course, as always, we are here again to inform you, to engage you, and to bring to you important stories and conversations that actually matters to you. So we have a beautiful lineup for you this morning from newspaper review, and interesting guests who will be doing justice to important topics that is very important to you. So don't go anywhere, to stay with us.
All right, just stay with us, and we'll start with a newspaper review this morning. I have the Nation, the Daily Trust, and as well the Sun newspaper. And I'm starting with the Nation newspaper. Nigeria Air Force strike destroy terrorists hideout in Northeast. Airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force have destroyed terrorist hideout in Ali Sherifit, a known enclave in the southern turbans of the northern east Nigeria. According to a statement by the Nigerian Air Force spokesperson, Air Commodore Emine Jodame, the strike were carried out on April 24. He said that the Nigerian Air Force air assets, while acting on credible intelligence of terrorist activity, conducted a focused surveillance sweep during which several insurgents were sighted among a long-concealed attack. Ejodema said that the targets were trailed to structures hidden under defense foliage, confirming deliberate attempts at concealment. Following positive identification, the NFA executed a precise strike engaging the structures with onboard munitions. The operation arrived the desired effect, with terrorist structure destroyed, further degrading the capability and the freedom of movement in the area. He said, for details of that report, you get in the Nation newspaper. But before we even move on to the next story, you know, a lot of people have been kind of criticizing the Nigerian Air Force for this attack, you know, citing the concept of, you know, having to consider security, what's it called now? These, when you are in a situation where you find it difficult to extract innocent citizens, collateral damage, so to say,
yeah.
that they have been criticized for not considering that. But if we should now allow the concept of collateral damage in our rules of engagement to preside over national security, then where are we going? So I think it's up to the masses or to the so-called innocent citizen to be sensitive to information or to be sensitive to the danger of, you know, sharing the same venue
and also
with
protect
terrorists.
Themselves, of course.
Yeah, so if they are claiming collateral damage, then that responsibility should be on them, because at this point, what is most important is national security, and it's left for every citizen to stay away, you know, from environments where terrorists are using as hideouts. That's just my take on that.
That's true. So I'm going to be taking my first story from Punch newspaper. Primaries, how power struggle threatening Ondo APC's unity. The race to 2027 has begun, but within the Ondo state, it has already turned into a battle of survival. Behind official assurance of unity lies a widening struggle for control, influence, and party tickets that could shape the state's political direction long before the general election. The International National Election Commission has scheduled political parties primaries for the 2027 general election to hold between April 27 and May 30, 2026. The Commission also directed parties to submit their digital membership registers at least 21 days before their respective primary dates, a process already underway. In line with Section 84(2) of the Electoral Act 2026, political parties are required to adopt either direct primaries or the consensus method in selecting candidates for elective positions. This means all parties participating in the 2027 general elections must choose their flag bearers through one of the two approved models. Preparations have since gathered momentum, with aspirants declaring interest in presidential, governorship, National Assembly, and State Assembly contests. However, in all those states and 7 other states with off-cycle governorship elections, only presidential, National Assembly, and State Assembly polls will be conducted. For more details on that story, you can find on Punch newspaper.
Okay, still with the Nation newspaper. Although APC shifting make case for senator, the ensured Ondo Central Senatorial District enjoys dividends of democracy. The shiftings of All Progressive Congress, APC in Ondo State, Chief Benga Duma, has advised the people of the Central Senatorial District to support the lawmaker representing the zone, Senator Ajayadini Yadigomire, for him to become a ranking member of the National Assembly. In a statement at the weekend, Eduma said attaining ranking status will strengthen Adegomire's capacity to attract more federal projects, influence and key legislative decisions, and deliver tangible development in the district. He says a ranking senator commands great respect and secure committee positions and wield more influence in national affairs, and all which translate into accelerated progress for all those sectors. And it's looking like the shifting is showing so much admiration for the serving senator, who probably is planning to come back. For details, you get them from the Nation newspaper.
All right, still on the Punch newspaper, fuel price hike, airlines plan Thursday shutdown. There are strong indications that domestic airlines in Nigeria may halt operations from Thursday, April 30th, 2026, over what operators describe as unbearable aviation fuel prices, raising fresh fears of widespread travel disruption across the country. Industry insiders say the airlines, having engaged both the federal government and oil marketers without a breakthrough, may be left with no options but to ground flights by Thursday. The looming shutdown comes after several complaints by operators who have watched the price of Jet A1 surge by over 300% compared to February levels pushing operating costs to the brink. Domestic flights and travel now face uncertainty in a bid to avert the crisis. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, convened a meeting with airline operators and fuel marketers in Abuja last week. However, findings indicate that the tripartite talks ended in a deadlock, with operators unwilling to shift their stance unless decisive action is taken. At the end of the two-day meeting, the minister announced a 30% reduction in aviation-related taxes as part of the efforts to ease the burden on airlines. While the gesture was acknowledged, operators insist it falls short of addressing the root problem. For more details on that, you can find on Punch newspaper. But I think that's a good one from the Minister of Aviation for implementing the 30% reduction in aviation-related taxes.
Yeah,
but these people are still saying that they've not really solved the problem. You know, and well, I think that is what they can do for now. We all know that the war is also affecting a whole lot of things.
And it's as if everything is coming back to normal now. They just need to give it time for things to normalize.
In no time, things will be normalized.
Yeah. Okay, still with the Nation newspaper. I'm in race for Ogun Central senatorial seat, says Amosun. Former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has said that he's in the race for Ogun Central senatorial district. He said, although 3 senatorial aspirants from the district has visited him to seek his support for the ambition, the volunteer that he was interested in contesting and they would withdraw the aspiration. Amosun clarified that he never had any aspirant to step down for him during the meeting of All Progressive Congress stakeholders held at the home of the party leader, Aremo Segun Oshoba in Abeokuta. Amosun added, I wish to reiterate that I'm not only a Democrat, I have also contested and won election twice to the office of Governor of Ogun State and twice as a Senator of the Federal Republic. What I said at the meeting, which I reiterate, is that I will not be part of the primary election whose result is predetermined. I advise the media to report proceedings of meeting correctly by cross-checking accounts given by interested parties. That's coming from the former governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun.
Okay, I'm still on Punch News. NNPC refineries will never work again, Obasanjo. As the Nigerian National Petrol Company Limited continues its search for technical partners to operate the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has once again insisted that the facilities will never work. Obasanjo spoke during a television interview aired on Saturday night by Sonny Irabo Live, which was monitored by a correspondent. He said, one of the lessons that I learned in the PPP, Public-Private Partnership, works. Look, one project that has not been destroyed by the government in Nigeria is the NLNG, Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, where the private sector has 51% and the Nigerian government has 49%. See what we did with Nigerian railways. See what we did with the National Shipping Company. See what we are doing now. Even with the NNPC has refineries. And I said to people that it will never work. And a man had the audacity to say, I'm a chemical engineer. Obasanjo spoke about his failed efforts to woo Shell, a global energy firm, into running the refineries. Look, when I was there, I called Shell. I said, look, please, I beg you, come and take 10% equity and run the refinery for us. They said no. I said, okay, if you don't want to take equity, don't take equity. Come and run the refineries. They said no, he stated. The former president narrated how he invited a top official of Shell for a one-on-one conversation to know why his offers were turned down. So I called him and I said, tell me, be honest with me. Why don't you want to handle this? He said, first, they want to let me know what they make most of their profits on the upstream, not the downstream. He said they run the downstream without making a loss, but they don't make a loss of profit from it. It's more of a service than a major profit making. So that's number one. For number two, you can see more story on that from Punch newspaper.
All right, I'm just kind of, confused or trying to understand the factor behind the conviction of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He has come out to say this over time that the refinery in Nigeria cannot work.
Yeah.
Even when it was like it's going to work, he said it publicly, and it's looking like he's right. Although he's entitled to his opinion, I think the responsibility on the current administration to prove him wrong and fix our refinery to ensure that that sector is actually booming. Because the fact that it's very, very critical to economic development. So with that, we place okay.
Okay, he said that the other people do not want to run it because it seems as though they are running at a loss, and that's why it will never work. When the private sector are saying that they are not going to make profit, it's more like their service. It's more the service now instead of a profit making. So what's an organization without profit making? So I think that is the angle President Obasanjo is coming from, stating that these people are saying they are not going to make profit. This is loss. So why should we come and manage it for you? I think that is why he's saying that.
He's coming from his wealth of experience in this concept of PPP, public-private partnership. That's not really the effective in Nigeria. Like I said, we place a wrap on newspaper review. We'll take a break. When we come back, it will be time for our first discussion for today. You want to stay?
She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends. But before the fame, there was fire. Born on October 25, 1900 in Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Funmilayo was born Frances Abigail Olufunmilayo Thomas. She came from a family that valued education, and in 1914, she became the first female student at Abeokuta Grammar School. Determined and brilliant, she later traveled to England for further studies, a rare feat for a Nigerian woman at that time. There, she trained as a teacher, absorbing ideas of equality and freedom that would shape her life's mission. On returning to Nigeria in the 1920s, she married Reverend Israel Ransome Kuti, a clergyman and educator. Together, they worked to uplift their community through education. But Funmilayo was not content with just teaching. She saw how colonial rule and traditional structures oppressed Nigerian women, and she decided to act. In 1947, she founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of Africa's most powerful grassroots women movements. The group fought against unfair taxation and the corrupt practices of the Alake, the traditional ruler of Abeokuta. Thousands of women led by Funmilayo marched in protest. They sang, they chanted, they occupied, and eventually they won. The Alake was forced to abdicate. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti was fearless. She was one of the few Nigerian women to drive a car, to travel widely, and to speak truth to power. Her activism didn't stop in Abeokuta. She was a founding member of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, a member of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. And in 1953, she became the first Nigerian woman to visit the Soviet Union, a move that earned her the label Communist Sympathizer by British authorities. But she wasn't deterred. In fact, she was emboldened. In her later years, she focused on broader issues: education, voting rights, women participation in politics. She advocated for the inclusion of women in leadership and resisted Nigeria's slide into authoritarianism. She raised 4 children, including Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer, instilling in them the spirit of resistance and truth. But tragedy would eventually come. In 1977, during a brutal military raid on Fela's compound, known as Kalakuta Republic, Funmilayo was thrown from his second-story window by soldiers. She never recovered from the injuries, and on April 13th, 1978, she passed away. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti was more than a mother, more than a teacher. She was a symbol of courage, of resistance, of dignity. She paved the path so Nigerian women could walk tall, speak freely, and fight for justice. Her legacy lives in every classroom, every protest, every woman who dares to say enough is enough. This was the story of Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, the lioness of Lisabi, a voice that cannot be silenced, a spirit that lives on.
ní Jésù wí ọmọ wa o lórí àpáta ní Jésù wí ọmọ wa o.
Mr. Benga, good morning. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so now let's begin.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. We can hear you too. So now, from your professional perspective, how will you assess the Nigerian security system?
Can you please be audible?
Okay, from your professional perspective, can you hear me?
All right.
Yes, how will you assess the Nigerian security system from the standpoint of political will and a leadership commitment? You may want to, lend your voice in that regard. Mr. Bega, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, okay.
Can you repeat that question?
Yes, I said can you hear me now? Hello, Mr. Bega, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I said from your professional perspective, how will you assess the Nigerian security system from the standpoint of political will on the part of leadership and as well the loopholes in the system? Is it possible for you to help us identify the loopholes why the insecurity in Nigeria persists? Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you very
much. All right, okay,
good. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, thank you very much, viewers, Alex, and Oba, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Before I go further, I think for over 25 years, I've been residing in Ondo State, and a chunk of my education is being taken and done in Ondo State. But if we're talking about the reassessment of the security situation in Nigeria, narrowed down to Ondo State, I think Nigerian security problem today is not a single crisis.
Okay.
It's not a single crisis. It is a varied crisis that we can even mention few about. And one of them is a kind of terrorism. We have terrorism. We have banditries. We have farmer terrorism, crashes in the farm. We have even in Ghana those days we have oil theft. That is in Niger Delta. We have cybercrime, border weaknesses, and weak policy. You see, all these are different crises that is really battling in Nigeria, and also it has extended to different parts of the nation. We see what is really happening, especially in state that has spent almost 25 years in those states. It is not even what we can see in the forest anymore. It is a global world now. We see them coming down to the city of Akure, because that and even the environment. So it is a different aspect of a calamity from one area to another. But I want to tell you, the political will and the Nigerian security officer, I keep on telling people, Nigeria does not lack a brave security officer. I repeat, Nigeria does not lack the brave security officer. What Nigeria lacks is the fully coordinated officer, the intelligent-led, officer, and also accountability, community-rooted. All those areas, community-rooted security architecture is what Nigeria is lacking. But we still have some brave officer that can do what we call effective and efficient, bringing these challenges to what you cannot even remember anymore again.
All right, Mr. Babalola. Okay. Yes, you've been able to identify some challenges we currently face. So, but now let's talk about the gaps in the system. What can you identify some major loopholes which criminals are taking advantage of?
Yeah, thank you very much, Oba. I don't know, maybe you're not. That's your name. They say we have a major loopholes, even from the federal government down to the state. A major loophole which I can mention uncountable. Are we talking about the over-centralized section of the Nigerian police? And that is one of the major loopholes. Nigerians into particular region, especially in federal. So one of the loopholes is over concentration. recently, we had what happened in the north where some of the security officers have been, informed one way or the other, taken away, and shortly the security officer that came to protect life and property left the apartment, left their beach, and shortly less than 1 hour the place maybe the student, I don't know, was kidnapped. You can see what I'm saying. Someone in the federal might control the police. So the police should be, can I say, independent on their own. So what we look for is also for interagency coordination of the police. So there should be a synergy. There should be a synergy between the police, the DSS, the military, the immigration, the custom. I will tell you something. When I was in Wales, because we have 4 countries in the United Kingdom: Wales, Scotland, England, and the rest. So when I was in Wales, imagine all those retired mother of 75 years in their offices. They also contributed to become a security spies. I went to go and visit my friend, and shortly after having a discussion about our dissertation in our masters, and mistakenly the lady locked the door in the room, forgetting his key and the phone. And shortly and I left. Less than 10 minutes, the police came. How? So a woman upstairs saw when the lady was roaming about looking at how it's going to get entrance to them. So police was informed. So there should be a synergy between the security agencies.
Okay, so Mr. Babalola, you are saying that Mr. Babalola, are you saying that the security agencies are not working together enough, and or they are not sharing intelligence? They are not sharing intelligence to get enough.
Either they are not sharing intelligence or they are not working together, but there is no synergy.
There's no synergy. Okay.
Many of them.
But Mr. Babalola, I would like to speak to that. Mr. Babalola, I'm sorry to cut into your flow. If you fought the intelligence sharing of the Nigerian security agencies, and speaking of intelligences now, what about the success they recorded, recently? Probably, from the point of view of the DSS, they gather the intelligence, and the Nigerian Air Force
the victory came about because of
come in and do the airstrike. What about that? Shouldn't we give them accolade for doing that? And that should be a product of intelligence sharing, if you agree with me.
Of course, it's still not enough. Okay. It's still not enough. That might be applauded in some states, but in a federal level, it's still not enough. You understand? We're talking about life and property, Mr. Malak. Okay. We're talking about life and property. You will see, let me tell you, for instance, in the United Kingdom, you understand? I'm a body of an SIA in the United Kingdom, Security Industry Authority. Okay. We work together with police. There's a social anti-behavior with some of the kids. You understand? The police, we get the footage of the bodies, those miscreants. I'll give it to the police. You understand? We work together. But I'm telling you, it's still not enough.
Okay, so how can this be fixed, Mr. Babalola? How can this be fixed? Okay.
Sorry. Basically because some of them want to take kudos on their own. Maybe it's police that have done this. Maybe it's civil defense that have done. There should be a synergy. You understand? That's what I'm saying.
So how can this be? What do you think? How can this be fixed? How can this synergy be fixed? What should be done differently?
What would be your recommendation in the area of intelligence sharing and working together?
Yes, until the government consider the head of security, the people that go to the realm affair of the security to be competency, not political ethnicity, not political favoritism. You know what I'm saying? So in security life, there shouldn't be any sentiment that this is my tribe, this is my person, let me put it in that position. That shouldn't be. No, the government, and I'm taking this categorically, the government, especially the governor, I remember what I said, I spent something years in Ondo State. I remember during the Adagu regime, there's an even Mimiko regime, there's a relationship between the head of military, civil defense, here and there. Bringing them together. Fund, you need to fund them. If you don't fund them, well, what is happening between the Amoteco and everything? So they need to come together and the government needs to take people by the hand, funding them, telling them this is what's supposed to do. So it is a relationship that the government need to bring them together. Because I don't even see maybe the military in Ondo State is being effective anymore. You understand? We should see military coming in. We should see civil defense coming in. We should see the Amoteco coming in. Like we, in United Kingdom we are just like, our own security chaplain is just like Amoteco. And we work together with police. Police don't come to my office and we give them the footage what is happening. A body camera need to be worn. If you see, I send it to Odoayo. If you see how I've been kicked, there's a radio here and there's a camera here. We dress to be kicked because a security without a CCTV, a security without a radio where you can do a speed control. So they are failing in that aspect. So the government need to fund in terms of equipment, need to fund.
Yes, Mr. Babala, now speaking of funding, like you said, that do you think the Nigerian military, Nigerian security agencies are underfunded in terms of equipment and personnel welfare? Do you really think
No,
Nigeria?
thank you very much for that question.
Okay.
They are not, thank you very much. They are not underfunded, but they lack accountability. Okay, of recent in 2026, I'm telling you, we listen to news here, just that Nigeria, the world is a global. Nigerian budget in 2026 was 3.15 trillion.
Okay.
3.15 trillion in 2026. Vis-a-vis was divided. I think 1.1 trillion was given to what? To defense in terms of the military, the air force, and 169 billion was given to the police. But there's no accountability. We had one time during Jonathan regime that the funding that is meant for equipment was sophisticated weapon got missing around the room. So they just released the budget was being we keep on getting budget, but where's the money going? There's no accountability. There's no transparency. So I won't say the government is not funding. The money is being budgeted for in National Assembly, but how is it used? Was it used effectively? So that is what I'm talking about: transparency, accountability, and competence in those people in the area of people that to make the provision for the equipment need to be held accountable.
Okay. All right. I'm not trying to dispute that, but.
Can you reframe it?
Okay, what I'm saying is this: is that anytime the Nigerian system, the government are interested in getting ammunition to fight insecurity, it's always in the public domain, even to the point of seeking the approval of the National Assembly. If you agree with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm now asking, how is it possible to engulf such amount of money without with government not keeping track of it?
Talk about accountability.
One of the reasons is the corruption in the country. There's a corruption. And I'm saying the leader from the top to down need to be accountable. And the people need to call them out. People need to call them out. For instance, if I'm a governor, as soon as I'm the governor, you understand? It's all about transparency and accountability, and it's better. It's all about the love of your people, the love of the people instead to govern. When a budget is being released, they don't do what we call a lot of us that is in the head of affairs. We just release budget without money
society.
All right, Mr. Babalola, there's been a lot of talk around state policing. There's been so many talk about state policing. So what do you think about the current centralized system? Is it a part of the problem?
Centralized, yes, that is one of the part of the problem. And I put here is one of the way forward is to decentralize the Nigerian police.
Okay.
And create a state police. You see, let me tell you one thing: in the United Kingdom, you hardly see a military. In the United Kingdom, in Western world, you hardly see a military. What you see is the police. After the police, we have what we call the community police. The community police, we are even the last security after most training. Before I got my license, there's a lot of courses. I failed, because I'm interested in it. I went back for it. I failed. It took me 9 months. There should be a community police. There should be a state police, and there should be. Look at those. I'm now.
Yes.
They need to be trained and retrained. They need to be trained and retrained. Every month there's a video app, because these terrorists, these bandits, they also develop every day. So you must also get a lot of training. So decentralization of police is one of the way forward. At that time, great more the people on the ground, they are not taken. They can be trained. There's nothing to stop Amotekun and Nigerian police not being caged by having camera.
All right, Mr. Babalola. You know, a lot of people will agree with you on that. There is a need. I mean, serious need. As a matter of fact, where it's being delayed. That Nigerian policing system should be decentralized. But there are others who will disagree, given the fact that if you decentralize Nigerian police to the point of creating state police, they might turn out to be instrument of political ambition by the powerful politician. What's your take on that?
That's what I said it the other way when Oba was asking me about the way forward. You understand? I think our leaders should desist from that act. You understand? Because especially when the election is coming, you see them controlling the police, using it for themselves. Even allegations being made one time in Ondo State that those Amotekun is also being used for political interest.
Allegedly.
So,
allegedly.
We cannot.
I said allegedly. Okay.
Sorry. Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. So, we can't say because the government is going to control the police, and so we won't have a state police. You understand? So, that one shouldn't create an obstacles for not having a state police. So, a state police must be created. I can't go for the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I think that bill is being debated, and this keep on debating in the National Assembly that the state police is quickly needed at the time. However, we should bring the people that know your terrain, your people. Why should it be somebody from North to come and oversee Ondo State? What should it be people from Yoruba to bring the people that understand the terrain?
All
So
right.
you understand? And let our leaders, and those admonish our leaders to stop being controlled, stop making use of the security agency for their own personal interest, and let them do their work freely. And then, how many of these terrorists are being even arrested? And even those that have been arrested, it's not enough. How many of them is being prosecuted? And remember, let me just do this straight to you. In 30, 40 years ago, when you did something bad, probably those armed robbers said they bring you to your community. They bring you to your house. You understand? I think those ones should be done so that the family will know. If you want to bring shame to your family, if any terrorist is being found, bring them to the community. Bring them, let them go to their root, their house.
Okay. Mr. Babalola, let's look at
Centralization of police needs to be applied.
all right, Mr. Babalola, let's look at the 2027 election. Based on the current threats, are you optimistic that Nigeria can conduct a free, fair?
I can hear you, please.
Okay, let's look at the 2027. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the 2027 elections. Based on the current trends, are you optimistic that Nigeria can conduct a free, fair, and secure election in the 2027? And why and why not? What do you think?
Yeah, thank you. You're taking me to a political route at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. There's improvements. We should always look for a way forward in the area of improvement. Yes, Nigeria can, but people are looking at it that we cannot run a credible, fair and credible election. We are bringing ourselves down. And what are we selling to the world in global? So, of course, there's a room for improvement. You understand? Even in America, they still have their own challenges when it comes to the political election. So, I believe and I'm optimistic that Nigeria can run a free and fair, credible election in 2027.
Okay. All right.
We might have some political interest in the ruling party presently. You understand? And we can see the opposition party also having their own formidable platform. So we can have a credible and fair election.
What about in the area of security? Are we looking at successful secured election with the current trend of security problems we have? If we should we should hold the election today, are we sure of maximum security cut across the country?
That's a good question. Have you ever seen during the election day? I want you to look at it. 2 days, 3 days to election day, or during the election day, did you ever see any riot? Before, what can I say? Terrorism here and there. This come before the election and they come after election. Check me out. There's no any election, any federal election, even state election, that during the election you see them, you see the terrorism performing their havoc.
All right.
How that is being played, I don't know.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
so I think some of both the opposition party and the president government, they won't let that insecurity to truncate their transition. The both of them are there. If there's any issue, both opposition and the president government have themselves to be blamed. So they will do all things to make that period be peaceful in the entire state.
You know, that brings me to this question, Mr. Benga. You know, in your climate, elections are seen from the standpoint of obligation and sometimes unfair. If you agree with me that anytime there is election, people are always eager to come out to exercise their franchise. But here in Nigeria, when we have election, we know, and one of the symptoms or probably the symbols that election is on us is this high level of militarization of our election. You see the federal government declaring and allowing military, unleashing military to go and secure the country. That kind of orientation, do you think is good for our democracy? Because even the electorate are already being afraid when they see battalions of soldiers coming out, all in the name of securing the citizen in the discharge of their franchise. What's your take on that as a security expert?
Vis-a-vis, the question you raise is very germane, and I will not take against that, although it is not democratically good for our system, because majority, 50% of the voters, the moment they see military, they are fidgeting, some of them running. But why federal government or some government introduce that is best known to them? Maybe because vis-a-vis the opposition party wanted to hijack the ballot here and there during the war or the environment, or maybe for their own selfish interest also. But to me, I will also condemn it. It is left for you to do a campaign, be popular, tell them your intention, give them your manifesto, and let the government also, take away military out of their electionary period. And the police is enough to do the work, except if there's going to be that's what we call, there should be a standby military force.
All right, Mr. Babalola. Okay, Mr. Babalola, because of our time.
I've been monitoring the voters.
Okay.
And through the United Kingdom, you can see, we cannot even say a gun. You cannot. You cannot even say a gun in anybody's hand. Even police in the United Kingdom have no gun. They only have a rubber bullet. Maybe you are running away. There's a way they use that rubber bullet away, and that will paralyze you for the next 30 minutes. And immediately they are off. You understand? But you see Nigeria go on here and there. You see terrorism go here and there. So I'm not interested, and I don't believe military should come to the voting area here and there. So I don't believe in that.
All right.
But I think 2 weeks ago I was listening to channels and Osrc TV that the military machine, all those things, was taken to INEC. That what is it doing in INEC? So it is now left for us to sensitize the community. To sensitize. You don't believe that even we, the electorate, might even have be knowledgeable than our government. So it is for us to keep on telling them this is not constitutional. And you see them in that Osrc TV, they condemn it. I don't know, maybe that machine equipment have been taken away from INEC. So you make them, it is an intimidation.
Yes, it is. All right, Mr. Babalola, thank you.
I don't buy that.
All right. Because of our time. Lastly, if you have a chance to advise the government directly,
Hello?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Babalola, if you have a chance to advise the government directly, what do you think should be their top priorities in tackling insecurities as of now?
Before they go a little bit.
Okay.
Before they go a little bit.
Okay, so I was saying that if you have a chance to advise the Nigerian government directly, what should be their top priorities in tackling insecurities as of now?
Yes, I will put that question to a way forward from now. A way forward. Number one, does the Nigerian government have the police? Yes, they have. But what is the way forward? Number one is to create, as I said earlier, is to create a state police. Number two is to build community policing. And we need to reform our security agency. A few weeks ago, on the social media, we used to see the American military, even though being sarcastic, saying them how they are eating, how they are being welfare. So they're talking back from our Nigerian police to how we call a wardrobe allowance. Just in the United Kingdom, from your uniform to your boot to everything is being free. But you see Nigeria buying uniform on their own. So Nigerian police should be reformed. Give them a better remuneration. Fill their salary. Give them housing equipment. Give them the training and retraining. What stop Nigerian police taking them to abroad for professional courses, for training and retraining? But what we see is some of the leaders, maybe commissioners, deputy commissioners, going to abroad for training. So we need to equip and reform the police. Another thing I will look at is control arms and borders. We have a lot of borders. Okay, for instance, in Ondo State, let's narrow it down to Ondo State. Ondo State have their borders. Is the border being mounted? We have a border that our borders is porous and it's not being covered. In Osrc, what stop that place being monitored? All those loopholes, all those three regional system and regional way to Ondo State.
Mr. Babalola, you know Nigeria is very, very large in terms of land mass. Mapping borders may be looking like mission impossible. You, as a security expert, what technology would you recommend to actually map our borders effectively?
Let me go on, sir. And this is where I'm going to bring in the Air Force, the Navy. Don't stop Nigeria having a drone. Even in Ondo State, not bush. If terrorists come to your house, kidnap people, and take it to the bush, what stop our government getting a drones? You understand? And there's a technology, a drone that will fish out these people in the forest. You understand? So, I don't think that it's possible for us to, even the government, to secure their state. I don't think it's impossible. It's not about releasing funds, and it's not about monitoring this one, supervising the fund, and being used judiciously. Ondo State should have a drone.
All right, thank you.
There's nothing stop Ondo State from having a helicopter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Olubenga Babalola, a security expert joining us live from UK. We appreciate you for your professional insight this morning. Thank you so much for your time. All right, insecurity, like I said, has been a serious issue in our society, and he said something very interesting about, motivating the security agencies, because if they are not motivated, they can't give their best. Those guys have been gallant enough in the discharge of their duty protecting the country, and I believe the government and leadership should kind of reciprocate that, ensure that their safety and welfare are taken into cognizance and be of the best priority. So we move on now, or not until when we come back from this break. Let's take this break. It's still AM today.
Chief Michael Adekunle Ajashin, born November 28, 1908, was a distinguished Nigerian educator, politician, and statesman renowned for his integrity, commitment to democracy, and transformative impact on education in Nigeria. Born in Owo, present-day Ondo State, Ajashi began his education at St. Andrew's College, Oyo, from 1924 to 1927, where he trained as a teacher. He furthered his studies at Fowler Bay College in Sierra Leone, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in English, Modern History, and Economics in 1946. He then obtained a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of London in 1947. Ajashin's career in education commenced with his appointment as principal of Imadi College in Owo in 1947. He was instrumental in staff development, encouraging teachers to pursue further training at institutions like University College Ibadan. In 1963, he founded Owo High School, serving as the first principal until his retirement in 1975. Ajashin's political journey began in the 1950s as a founding member and national vice president of the Action Group, advocating for policies such as free education, universal health care, and Nigeria's immediate independence. He served as a federal legislator from 1954 to 1966. In 1979, he was elected governor of Ondo State under the Unity Party of Nigeria (UPN), with Akin Omoboriwo as his deputy. His administration prioritized education, establishing the Ondo State University in 1982, now Ekiti State University, and the Polytechnic Owo. In the 1983 elections, Ajashin was initially declared the loser amid allegations of electoral malpractice. However, the Supreme Court later reinstated him, affirming his victory. His tenure was cut short by the military coup on 31 December 1983. In 1939, Ajashin married Babafunke Tenabe, a fellow educator. They had 4 children, including Olajumoke Anifowoshi, who later served as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ondo State. Ajashin's commitment to democracy was evident in the 1990s when he became a leading figure in the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, advocating for the restoration of democracy and the recognition of MKO Abiola's electoral mandate. His activism led to his arrest in 1995 under General Sani Abacha's regime. In recognition of his contributions, Ondo State University was renamed Adekunle Ajashin University in 2000. His governance style